welcome to another episode of Critical Affection, where we affectionately criticize the pop culture that we love. I'm your host, Sarah, and I'm here today with Brian and Amanda as the usual, and a new guest to Critical Affection, Benjamin Hunting. Welcome to Critical Affection, Ben.
Welcome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, no problem. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a freelance writer and a comic book creator living up in Canada, and I'm currently have a Kickstarter going for my third comic book, which is called Model UN. And it's about a world where a bunch of aliens approach the Earth and mistake a Model United Nations club in a high school for the actual United Nations. And a group of 90s misfit teens are forced to negotiate the fate of the planet over the course of one crazy weekend.
We've all been there.
I mean, right? Fair.
It's rough.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. Like if I was a
trope
kid,
for a reason.
if that was happening to me, I don't think I could handle it. But these kids are better than all of us, and they're gonna make a go of it.
Having met Model UN students, yes.
So so here's the thing. I never got a chance to participate in it. Did anyone here get to do that when they were in high school? It was never an option for me.
Yes, I
did not.
What was it like?
It was just a local one, and so it didn't go very big. We tried to prep, show up, do the thing. Yeah.
Which country were you?
Don't remember.
Oh.
It's been a while, in my defense.
Okay. You could have said literally anything.
I know, but brutally honest is unfortunately a self-reflective trait as well.
That's cool.
I didn't know it was a thing. I didn't know that Model UN was a thing.
I only ever saw it I saw it in like media, like you would see it on TV or movies, and it always seemed super cool because I feel like in every TV show or movie that had a Model UN club, they would always end up in New York City on a field trip at like the actual United Nations, and it just seemed like pretty awesome to me as a kid. But yeah, it was forbidden fruit. It never happened. But I don't know why the words just started kicking. I had a hiatus on another book project I was working on, and those two words were just like kicking around in my head, and I didn't know what to do with them at first. I thought maybe it could be like a slice of life comic book in the vein of Freaks and Geeks, except instead of just high school, it would be like, okay, all the misfits are a Model UN club. But I was talking to an artist friend, and I was like, maybe that's cool, or maybe I could do something genre related, like aliens or something. And he was like, oh yeah, definitely aliens. It's way better than your other idea. Like instantaneously shut down my creativity.
Oh no.
And then I realized that, so the book is kind of in a manga black and white style, which I've never done before. And I realized that if you're writing a book about high school and it's in a manga form, then there's like 6 or 7 Japanese masters who've told whatever story you're going to tell better than you could ever tell it, if it's just like straight up high school. So I had to have some kind of hook or spin to get people into it. So that the aliens won out.
All right. Well, speaking of, let's have a look at your page here. I have about this much space to move my mouse. And so I just keep like scooching and then like moving and slamming the mouse back down. I don't think you guys can hear it because of my sound dampener, but why did it make me big and this little? That was extremely weird. I don't know how to fix it. I want this.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay. There we go. Now I got it. All right, so let's have a look at this.
So my co-creator on this is Ai Santillana Hernandez. He's an Argentinian artist, and we met on Facebook of all places in a group that connects writers and artists, because I didn't know anyone who drew in like a manga style. But what really attracted me to his work was he was able to create these really cool like high-tech sci-fi like spaceships and backgrounds and stuff, but then he could also draw believable looking characters whose facial expressions would like translate what they were thinking and feeling. And I kind of realized after looking at all these portfolios, that was a pretty rare thing to encounter in a combination with artists. So been really happy working with him, and he's come up with a lot of really cool suggestions and put a lot of energy into the book, and in static areas that I had drawn as maybe a little less interesting than they could have been, or sorry, written as a little less interesting than they could have been. So it's been a cool partnership.
Right on.
Nice.
Love to hear that.
Yeah, finding an artist that you work well with is, well, it's a trick, isn't it?
That's
It's
a task in
tough.
itself.
And
sorry, go on.
yeah, well, I was just thinking like I've had a couple of situations where we lucked out and got a really great artist right away, but yeah, it's usually more of the other way where you struggle.
My previous 2 books, I worked with a creative team that I've been friends with for 25 years. And when I came to comics kind of later in life, I had approached them about some comic book ideas that I had, asking who they thought might be interested in working with me. And it turns out they were interested in working with me.
Nice.
And so I got to go to comic book college, basically, with artist Joe Ng, who's done a lot of Transformers, Street Fighter, and Udon books and whatnot. And on the first book, it was like just basically having a mentor teach me everything about how to translate onto the page. So to go from like that kind of intimacy with someone I really knew and trusted to a situation where we're working completely remotely, someone I didn't know, and someone who's also younger than I am, to the degree where I can't count on them understanding what the 90s were like. It really forced me to be more deliberate with how I was writing and with the descriptions, but also like examine what I was doing and not just kind of go into cruise control based on an existing relationship. So that was kind of cool as well. I mean, challenging, but cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds it. So you kind of were talking about what inspired this. Did you have any other stuff any other tidbits that you wanted to add about your creative process on this?
One of the things that was a lot of fun about this book was taking these 2 hierarchies where you have these kids who are in a small private school, and then you have a model UN club in that school, which is like hierarchy inside hierarchy. And then you have these aliens that show up where they have their own social system, right? But their leader is a big doofus and won't admit that they're wrong, regardless of how many facts are presented to them. And their own crew is telling them, maybe these kids aren't the actual United Nations. And so when you have these 2 really rigidly structured hierarchies colliding with each other, you can get a lot of comedy out of that. And that was something that was fun to write. And just like 2 fish out of water stories, these aliens that have no idea what they're doing, and these kids who by extension have no idea what they're doing because they're way out of their league. And it's like a scary situation to suddenly have all that responsibility, but it can be funny as well, because I think like being a teenager is the ideal time to be in Model United Nations, because you think you have the answers to everything and you have ridiculous amounts of self-confidence, and that's going to paper over a lot of terror that you might feel in this situation. And so I was able to take these kids and like grow with them through the process. When you're in a high stress situation like that, you get to discover who you really are a lot of the time and who the people around you are. And it's not always who they present themselves to be. So being able to do that with these kids, have them grow like that, and then have them just accept the situation matter-of-factly was fun and interesting for me as a writer.
Neat. It's fun to be able to explore something you wouldn't normally consider.
Yeah, I mean, just listening to you talk about it, I like, if I wasn't already sold, which I was, but like if I wasn't already sold, it sounds like a really fun. It does sound like a really fun process to create it. So, which I don't know. I think that's part of the reason that we make comics, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Just because it's fun to do.
I think most of the time we're making it for ourselves, right? If we're entertaining ourselves, then there's a strong chance that someone else might also be able to make a connection with the material.
Mm-hmm.
And I get to try, like, so much of this book is like me taking huge dice rolls and risks and whatnot. Like, I've never done a black and white book like this. I've never done manga. I gave myself like a really tight, this is part 1. It's about 54 pages. And I want to do the whole story in like 120 pages just to give myself.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, sometimes you put yourself in a box and you get to be more creative to get yourself out of that situation, right?
Yep.
So some of the character stuff, like I realized that I have to develop all the characters as part of the narrative. I can't have all these flashbacks and like little, like, you can't really get inside their heads. It really has to be part of the story most of the time, except for some of the stuff where I was able to put in these like little yearbook pages where it's a combination of like a yearbook photo plus maybe the fighter selection screen on a Tekken video game or something, where their strengths, their weaknesses, a quote from them. And like when I was working with IE, he put in all these little, we have all these little accessories because it's a private school, so everyone's in uniform. And I made the mistake of having my main character and her best friend both be brunettes in a black and white book. And I'm like, okay, we got to use accessories and stuff like that to try and make it easier to distinguish them on the page if you're just looking quickly. So little call outs as to what they're wearing and like whether they have a Walkman or a Discman or whatever 90s accoutrement and how that positions them in the hierarchy of their school.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a whole thing. And I didn't really consider it. I haven't done any black and white comics, so yeah, you gotta make sure that your characters are obvious who is who when you're going from panel to panel. And it's the artist's job, but it's not just about making them look the same. It's also about, just like adding the accessories to make them distinct.
You can't give everyone main character hair. Especially not if you're trying to have some semblance of realism.
Why not, Brian?
It's funny that you mentioned hair because I had one character who was kind of punk rock. And when Santiago Hernandez did the initial designs, he came back with this like mohawk thing. And I had to explain to him that there's no way you could get away with that at a private school in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Not one that has uniforms.
No, so it ended up being more like elaborate braids, kind of. That's how he did it. But he wasn't around then, like, so he didn't know that kind of thing. I guess maybe private schools are more permissive these days. I haven't been to one.
I think it depends on the school.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah. So,
I mean, as much as I would have loved a mohawk for, character distinguishing reasons, it just didn't work out.
Yeah. Oh man, that would have been cool. Yeah, because mohawks are very 90s, but not for private school, like you said. So, want to talk about a little bit about digital only here, just for a second? Sure.
This is another big risk I'm taking. I've never done a digital only book before. Everything's always been digital and print. The reason I couldn't do it this time is because I live in Canada and about 80% of my readership is in the US. And there's simply no way to ship comic books across the border right now without incurring crazy tariffs. And the tariff situation changes like on a weekly basis. So I know people who've gone full compliance with CUSMA to get all the paperwork they need to put stuff across the border, and they're still getting hit with tariffs on the other side. It feels very Wild West, and I did not want any of my readers to be hit with a huge customs bill when they're picking up their package. Right. So for this book, at least the initial run is going to be digital only, and that was weird for me on Kickstarter because it totally changed the reward situation. I suddenly can't offer original art. I can't offer prints. I can't offer cool little 3D printed stuff like I've done in the past. So what I'm keeping it down to is the book, a bundle that includes a bunch of PDFs from other independent creators who've joined me for this campaign. One of my previous graphic novels, Code 45, is available as well as a PDF. And then I'm offering this behind the scenes look where you get the script to Model UN, plus all the layouts, plus the alternative layouts, because Santiago Hernandez was really good at offering different takes on a page. Like he would have ideas and he would want to draw them out, and then we would talk about them and pick the ones that were the best. And in reality, you can have two great pages, but you can't put them both in the book. You have to choose one. So the behind the scenes stuff is me talking about how we made the decisions, why this page went in and why this one didn't. Not necessarily a quality thing. A lot of the times it's just a story thing. So it's a peek behind the curtain, and I think it will appeal to people who are perhaps looking to create their own comic book for the first time, or anyone who's just curious about like someone else's creative process.
Absolutely.
Super cool.
So you talked a little bit about IE, and all right, who's this guy? This is your letter.
Yeah, Lyndon
who's this guy?
I feel like I'm being interrogated. I've never seen this guy before, I swear. Lyndon is someone I picked up his book, The Laundryman, on Kickstarter maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I was looking for a letterer, and I didn't realize that he did that. I had been in touch with him. I was on his newsletter. We would write it every once in a while. But he does lettering independent of, creating his own books. And he had never done manga before either. So that was cool. He got to try out some new stuff and flex. And I think it worked really well. Mm-hmm. I was lucky in that Santiago Hernandez had a little bit of manga experience. So he could walk me through some of, panel design and page design, which is a little different from the Westernish style comics I'd done before. But Lyndon, jumped in with both feet, did a really good job. He's out on the west coast of Canada.
Cool. Like sometimes, but not right now, lawyer. Nice.
And Winston is someone I also ran into on Kickstarter. I picked up
this guy I recognize.
Yeah, Lights in the Sky is a really cool book, like as a document. I don't know if you've had the chance to see it, but it was about UFOs and kind of not conspiracy radio, but like an Art Bell style radio host who had a show and is involved in some type of UFO activity. And Winston put together this really cool package where there were a lot of like pages with redacted stuff, and it just created a universe for the book that didn't. It was in addition to the story, and I really like that. And I was hoping to get some kind of a feel like that for this book as well. He ended up doing the logo and a few other design aspects in the book. It didn't end up being as comprehensive an effort. It wasn't necessary, but it's awesome to like find people who are making comics and then include them in what you're doing. Like the collaborative aspect of comics is what makes it so cool. You get all these brains together and you mush them together, and then like it all comes out. You hopefully get the best parts of all those brains on one page.
Mushy brains.
Yeah, mushy brains. Yeah. So that's where my vibe was with that.
Cool. Editor, what are those?
So I as I mentioned at the top of the show, I'm a freelance writer. I've been doing that for about 17 years, mostly automotive, some culture and some tech stuff. And I get to work with really great editorial teams all the time. And on my comic books, I also need that outside perspective. I need someone who can come in and laser in on stuff that isn't working, that I'm totally blind to. Kevin had worked with me on a previous book called Code 45, and he'd done a great job. And he was available, which is not always a given when you're good at something. And he was great at. There was a 4 or 5 page section of Model UN that I really loved, that explained why the aliens were on Earth and the kids figuring it out. And it was this super. I was, oh, this is cute and it wraps up well and there's funny jokes. And so I sent the script to him and I get it back and he's like, yeah, I really like the story, except for this 1 4 or 5 page section that just like completely kills the energy of everything. He's like, you need to get rid of this. And I couldn't believe it. And then he explained it to me and he was absolutely right. He's like, it doesn't matter why the aliens are there. He's like, the aliens are there and they need to be dealt with. And it's all well and good that you have a reason for it, but it doesn't move the story forward at all. It just saps all of your momentum. And like, I couldn't see that. And that's gone from the story. And it's thanks to him, being willing to do that for me.
Yeah. And editors are important. I
completely. I
didn't appreciate it before.
I highly recommend just having someone whose opinion you can trust to be objective. Like it's great to have first readers and whatnot, but a lot of the time I feel that those are pulled from people who want to see you succeed. Whether it's maybe they're colleagues or whether they're in your life, and so they're not necessarily going to be as objective as they could be.
Right.
That they want to encourage you, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you need someone who's not there to encourage you, someone whose only loyalty is to the work itself.
Yep.
And that's a big help. And Maya Opechik, she colored all of Code 45. Dead Air for us. The previous book I worked on. She's fantastic. She's also really good at 90s colors, at like teals and pinks and all that fun stuff. So she did the cover on this book. I'm really glad that she was able to come back.
Yeah. So you just have, I normally don't spend a lot of time on the rewards, but because you only have digital, which is unusual, we're going to take a quick look here. Yeah, because like you literally have 4 reward tiers. That's
4 rewards.
That's it. That's pretty cool. The
script and the layout, the Code 45 graphic novel, and the Indie Comics Creator Bundle. For the second half of this book, if I can brainstorm some more realistic digital rewards, I will gladly do that. I'm hoping to have the whole book completed by the spring. The book is done. The first 54 pages are done. It's ready to go. Everything is, just click send once the Kickstarter's over. But I'm hoping to get the second half done for next spring. I think that's pretty realistic. So I'll have time to brainstorm what does and what doesn't work.
Yeah. So. And you already made your goal. Or did you? Yeah, well, you made your goal. Why? It's so weird looking when it's not an American
I know, it's
money.
such a random. It's like $1,429 or something.
Yes.
The thing about Kickstarter goals is it's always a balance between what the book costs and what you think you'll be able to secure in terms of funding and support.
Yep.
I've been really fortunate to be successful on Kickstarter in the past. This book is completely different in every way, and I did not want to set the goal that high because I'm comfortable funding my own work and recouping as many of those costs as I can over time. So that's why I have a really modest goal on this, and we caught up to it in the first 26 hours, I'd say.
Congrats.
Awesome.
So that was pretty cool. I would love to see it go higher, obviously, but what I would rather see is the number of backers go up versus the dollar amount, because that gives me a firm foundation for the second issue.
Yes.
I have a pretty good following and an engaged newsletter and whatnot, but the book is so different, and you can't count on people who've enjoyed other work like full color Western comics to make the jump to this. Like, I personally don't know if I would do that if I was following an artist or a creator who made a really big leap. So like, it's just been a real learning process, this whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So,
thanks for letting me drone on and on about the book. I know
it sounds like a really good book, and like when the time comes that this goes, it's no longer live, like people then they can skip if they don't want to listen. But you should listen because it sounds like a pretty good book, y'all. So this is the part where we talk about our movie. Ben picked Can't Hardly Wait.
To be fair, I picked two, and you picked the one that is the most ridiculous, which is great for conversation.
Well, that's fair. And honestly, I think
Rushmore.
I don't think that I think that the reason that I picked Can't Hardly Wait is because I was in a rush when I was talking to Jeff, and because Jeff Haas is the one that got us connected, and I was in a rush, and I just was like, he said Can't Hardly Wait first, so I was like, okay, that's fine.
Oh, it's good. It's all good. It's fun to talk about.
And yeah, so the reason that we let our guests pick the movie is so that we can talk about why it's similar to your book, so to your current project. And I mean, you can already, if you've seen Can't Hardly Wait, you can, and then listen to Ben talk about his book, you can already tell the similarities to a degree. But as we talk about Can't Hardly Wait, you feel free to interject at any point where there were specific parts, the specific aspects of this movie that you drew inspiration from, or that you likened in any way to Model UN, because that is the point. If people like Can't Hardly Wait, then they're probably gonna like your book, and it's our job to explain why, right? So, as we were saying before the show started, this is the 90th movie. The 90th. What did you say, Brian?
90th movies that ever 90.
Yes, it was. It is like peak 90s. And it is just full of people who have like serious acting careers now, but that is a very unserious movie.
Yeah, I think like who are the biggest people for that movie? I mean, Jennifer Love Hewitt, Seth Green, probably the two biggest
Jason
stars.
Segal's in there.
Is he?
Yeah.
Liv Tyler is credited as being in there, but I didn't see her.
I don't remember her.
Jerry O'Connell.
Jerry O'Connell, I think, was on the downward spiral at that point. Or maybe that's a mid-career movie for him.
I think he's doing voicing. He does voicing in Star Trek Below Decks.
Okay, I'm sure he's very good.
Yeah. He's weird.
Melissa Joan Hart's in this. Selma Blair's in there as just one of the girls that the asshole hits on.
It's wild, like that period of 90s movie where you could have these walk-on cameo parts for people who were way bigger stars who should not be in this film, right?
Yes. And they're like, some of these were like, I was reading about how some of these, like, this movie is the movie that got them their next job, that made them famous. And I'm like, okay, I mean, especially after watching last week's movie, we cannot say this is the worst movie we've ever seen or anything that.
What was last week's movie?
Oh God,
Birdemic.
was it even a movie? Yeah.
Oh, Birdemic?
Birdemic. Yeah. It's a movie in the most technical sense, yes. So anyway, we like this movie is like I said, we said it's a 90s, it's a very 90s movie. And if you can separate the 90s-ness of it, then it's not a bad movie. It's a good. I like this. I like the story structure and everything. Like, it's, one movie that takes place as several people's little stories, and it takes place at this one central location. It's an interesting premise.
That premise is, I think, why I likened it to Model UN. The idea that you take all these disparate personalities and you put them in a box and you shake that box up. And in Can't Hardly Wait, the box is the last party of the year and everyone's at this one person's house. And in Model UN, they're like, they're at the school. They're the only ones at the school, and the aliens shake the box. And whenever you do that, you get interesting tension, I think, because in Can't Hardly Wait, you have all the different tropes, right? You have like the jocks and the geeks and the cool kids and the stoners and everyone. And they're all forced together in a way they wouldn't be at school, because it's the last time as well that they'll ever be in that position. Mm-hmm. So that was something that I feel like, as you're saying, the 90s movie that ever 90s, there's been movies that have taken a lot of those themes, but this is the one that takes all of those themes and blends them together. I also think Bring It On is kind of a similar type of movie where you have disparate personalities on a cheer squad, and the cheer squad is what shakes them up. So it's like kind of the same idea as Can't Hardly Wait.
Yeah, I mean, Bring It On definitely less so of the shoving of all the different personalities together, but I can see that too, because Eliza Dushku's character is so not a cheerleader. So
yeah, but, and like cheerleading is a form of nerdery of its own, right? Like,
that's true.
It's a hyper interest that you have to the exclusion of everything else, like being in Model UN Club, kind of.
Yeah. So we didn't talk about like opening thoughts. We're just jumping right in because we're all kind of agreeing that it was just the 90th movie ever. But do we have any does anybody have any opening thoughts that you wanted to share before we rip on it at all? Because we're gonna rip on it.
I do want to say that I love the way they did the ensemble, giving so many stories that overlapped. And there was a moment where they were just going through the list of, this is Chekhov's camera. Oh, this is Chekhov's family portrait, and just right down the line, all these things. They're like, let's casually draw attention to this thing. But of course, it all comes together and all the web coalesce.
What's kind of cool is that like this is the co-directors of this movie, Harry Elfman and Deborah Kaplan. They wrote it, but they would also go on to write Josie and the Pussycats. So it was like, I guess, training wheels for another much better movie, like 2 or 3 years later. So we have Can't Hardly Wait to thank for the majesty that is Josie and the Pussycats.
I would say that it had less embarrassment humor than I expected, for which I was grateful. Mm-hmm. And when you all talk about it being a 90s movie, I don't see it. Like, it's a movie about teens, but like the 90s is an era where it's sort of like the 80s fading from color to beige, and there's nothing terribly remarkable about it.
Wow, that's so harsh. What about Seth Green's character?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The
Green's character. Jesus, what the hell is going on there?
Yeah. That's like 90s. That's like Zoolander hip hop.
Trying to be hip hop.
That's why my subtitle is baggy pants.
Current day thing. That's ongoing.
Were they Junko jeans?
No.
There's
a lot of some crap from Hot Topic.
It's
but
funny.
They were huge.
Amanda, it's funny you say that, because I feel like a lot of the criticism of at the time the movie came out was that it was trying to be like an 80s teen movie, but it didn't have the heart of an 80s teen movie, which I think kind of misses the point of like why the teen movies were being made at the end of the 90s. I don't think heart was like a big part of the equation anymore.
No, it was groin. They were going for groin.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, the 80s were going for groin too, right? Like, it wasn't all Breakfast Club. There was a lot of, non-Breakfast Club like teen movies from that period.
Absolutely, yeah.
But they definitely stayed more on the side of PG-13. This one walked right up to it, and then the ones that came after just blew past it. American Pie, cough.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
There was shit. I lost my train of thought. That's a really good point too. Yeah. So there were a lot of the tropey characters. And the sex thing. Okay, so did you watch the credits when you were watching? Did you just I was like, okay, there's a lot of girls who are just sexual objects who don't even have names in this movie. And then I watched the credits and I was like, there's a lot of guys in there who are it was just like the drunk guy and the high guy and the
girls
the
whose
football guy.
girl whose party it is. Like,
Yeah,
I don't think she
literally.
even-
That's all she gets is girls whose house it is. Yeah, and I don't remember if Melissa Joan Hart's character, because she was yearbook girl. I don't know if she officially had a name.
No,
Yeah,
no.
there were so
Yearbook
many
girl.
of them, and like while they did reduce the women to sexual objects, as one does in a '90s movie, they also reduced the men to a lot of stereotypes too. So I guess in that one way, it was less sexist than some of these other movies, but it was a very sexist movie. Like I'm not gonna try and pretty it up. It is a very sexist movie, but it also like it's not reducing men to sexual objects, but it is reducing men to one-dimensional stereotypes, which is the best I can ask for in a '90s movie, I guess.
And I guess it also technically passes the Bechdel test because
It does not.
well, doesn't
does
she
not?
ask people to sign her yearbook who are women? That would technically be a pass. Like
Is that
I mean,
conversation?
that's it's
That's not a full
reaching, but I
conversation. That's
Yeah.
just, that's a question interaction. Like,
all right.
she.
If it passes, it's on a technicality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she does. She has. Nope. That conversation was with a guy, wasn't it? With where she says that people don't appreciate how important signing the yearbook is. That conversation was not with another woman. Man, that is a hard test to pass for a lot of these movies, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it's as we were saying, these films were not about giving women agency at that point in time.
I mean, there's an entire group of guys whose entire purpose in the movie is to get laid. So, I mean, there's that. Seth
there's-
Green's group.
There's the
There's-
weird watermelon subplot too.
Yeah, what?
Yep.
That was presented as though it was something that everyone knew about, like that every high school had this watermelon, and that at the end of the year we would all know what the watermelon was for. And I remember
What?
when I first saw this movie, I was like a teenager, and I had no idea what it was just.
Is this a Canadian thing?
Is ultra specific to like this particular writer, I guess, or these two particular writers, Deborah and Harry. I
Was
guess
certainly, this watermelon was certainly not a thing
I just
in
realized
our
that
high school.
the directors' names, if you combine them together, it's the lead singer of Blondie. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
So, what is the watermelon thing? I'm still unclear.
The watermelon, like the watermelon that was filled with vodka. Am I-
Okay.
Yeah,
I-
am I thinking of the wrong movie?
I mean, there was
I
watermelon.
I
in it,
thought
but
you meant
what's the
Jason Segal's
significance?
watermelon.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
He
what
was
I'm talking
holding, and he was filing a groove into it with his tongue, and I thought it was another sex thing.
No,
like a
and it
cunnilingus thing.
smashes, right? And everyone's upset about it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we filled watermelons with vodka, but well,
it was
I mean,
like-
to be fair,
That's
we
okay.
like mostly we made jungle juice tonight when I was in high school, where we put
Jungle
like
juice.
it's
Yeah.
a trash can. It's basically a trash can. You fill half full with whatever booze everybody brings. Everybody brings a bottle of booze, and it's disgusting. It doesn't matter what it is. But then you fill the rest of it with Hawaiian Punch and like every piece of fruit from the grocery store, and then you can't tell that the actual booze is disgusting.
We filled
You will die. If you don't drink it, you will die.
we filled a
okay.
bathtub with Jello one time at a party. That took a really long time to do, and it's impossible to cool. That's what we learned.
Yes. That would have been, yep.
Someone fell into it as well. And
Oh, I
like,
bet
not-
they were pretty colors for a while.
it wasn't in a comical way either. It was like I went into that room and they were like in the tub and couldn't get out and by themselves.
Oh.
And I have no idea like what circumstances led that to happening. And I helped them out, and I'm like,
And that stuff's kind of slippery too, isn't
and
it?
it sticks to you after as
Yeah.
well. Yeah. So they were like pink and purple for most of the rest of the night.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
I mean, at least it was unicorn colors. I don't know.
It was a different time. It was also the 90s.
was.
So
Do they like I mean, I don't know any teenagers now because I'm old now, but like,
You know,
do they still do the put all the booze into a trash
yeah.
can?
I don't
thing?
want to know what
Yeah.
teenagers do anymore. I'm cool with not
Yeah,
knowing.
mostly
Like,
I don't want to know either. Like, I just want to like.
Teenagers and broke college students.
I'm happy with
Yeah.
the distance. My dad he had some apartment buildings that he rented to students directly beside a university for a long time after I had graduated. And so I got to hear what students did all the time.
Oh my
Like,
god. The
really
insides
crazy
of those
stuff.
built apartments must have looked like a Jackson Pollock when you turned on a black light, right?
It's funny you mentioned Pollock because there was one apartment he and my sister had to clean out. She still lived in my hometown, where they went in and every surface was covered with 5 to 6 inches of just black. Just like black. Well, like the students who had lived there, when they were done eating or had some trash, they just threw it on the ground. And they didn't have a garbage can, and it was insane. Just
And
like,
they were still alive? Like they didn't catch anything gross and weird?
I'm
Somehow
sure they had a
avoided
very
recommend
healthy immune
arson.
system.
ugh, just
I
terrible. Like,
guess.
Yeah.
How I don't know
It's
how
time for
people
arson.
can live that way, but
Burn
some
it.
people did. Some people did. A lot
I
of
mean,
stuff.
I guess everyone has their reason.
Again, I don't want to know how teenagers live
Oh,
or what
man.
they do. Like
Anyway,
yeah.
why is Can't Hardly Wait like Model UN?
Yeah, I mean, absence the alcohol and the sexism and the misogyny, like it's very similar to my book. So
Appreciate
perhaps-
how we're getting stuff like stories like this, and like, you know, we're getting some mainstream stuff too that is doing. We don't have the high school movies the way that we did in the 90s. I feel like that
No.
was. Maybe it's just because
Well-
I'm not that fan. I'm not that target audience anymore. But
there's
it's-
movies like Booksmart, which came out a couple of years ago. Was that Olivia Munn's movie? She was directing that. There's the other one. She was just in Drive Away Dolls. I can't remember the name of it. There've been a couple of like decent, very indie style high school movies, but like I think as a mainstream genre, it's done. And I think maybe that a lot of those like Not Another Scary Movie type of spoof movies have killed a lot of that because those tropes were just recycled endlessly for comedy, and I think it might be impossible to put them on the screen now and take them seriously. I mean, we had Cock Blockers, which came out maybe 5 or 6 years ago, which was like a high school movie from the parents' perspective as well. It was pretty funny, but again, they had to subvert the whole trope in order to do that genre again. So yeah,
it's like, yeah, the parent. Well, I was just thinking about how Blazing Saddles kind of effectively killed westerns.
yeah, that's a
Because
really good point.
it parodied them so hard that it killed them. It parodied a lot of stuff. Like that movie is something else. Like I don't even. But the handful of parody movies that we got in the early 2000s parodied 90s teen movies so hard that we killed that genre too.
Yeah, it killed the stereotypical hood movie as well when we had Don't Be a Menace while drinking your juice in the hood. That like before that you had all these movies like, you know, Menace to Society and Belly and these you would have like a hip hop style detective movie and then a hip hop style high school movie, or like New Jersey Drive where it's hip hop but they're stealing cars. And then that came along and all of a sudden it was like they're gone. They're just completely we got ATL like a few years after that and that was it. You know? So
Yeah.
but yet somehow the Bring It On franchise still going strong.
Why? I didn't know that. That's
They are like
why.
their 6th or 7th sequel at this point, I think. It's all direct to video, but that's survived.
the first movie wasn't even that good.
Oh, come on. It's amazing.
Teen movies
It's-
about high school are gonna keep going though.
Oh no, I just so we're clear, I love Bring It On. I just acknowledge that it's a bad movie. They're all bad. This is just
when
how.
we get to a movie genre that we don't like, we just have to parody it hard enough that it's a nail in the coffin, is what I'm hearing.
That's a really good idea. They kind of did
Although
that with,
like Spaceballs didn't tank sci-fi by any means.
I was thinking that, you know, and also
Yeah,
50
that's true.
50
It was
Shades
more
of
of a
Grey.
loving homage than it was a like it wasn't hitting it that hard. And like, would you call 50 Shades a parody though? Like I don't know if that's.
It's a parody
It's-
of erotica, I think. I mean, it's the least erotica you could make. like while still being serious about it, I guess.
But those books sold real well.
Well, yeah, it was like erotica written on your smartphone. Like that was the
It was Twilight fanfic is what it started its life
My
as,
mom
right?
was so happy
And,
to tell
like-
me when she read that.
Oh my god.
Well, it's
My mom and
subversive,
my
right?
sister, my mom and my sister read that stuff and they're like, it was so good. And I was like, no, I will not. I refuse. And then I was like, okay, you liked that. Here's the actual Twilight. And then they were like, we didn't like this. And like,
And then they made the movies, the 50 Shades of Grey movies, with the two non-sexual entities. It was like androids that had been programmed to like feel erotic feelings, but
Okay, that I would watch.
Yeah, but they have no way to express it. Like that part of the programming never happened. It's just so odd. It's like we know we
I
should
want
be
that
in
to be
this
the plot,
situation.
though.
But did it kill erotica? Like, have we gotten anything like that
Oh, no.
since? Like, I don't mean
No,
online
I mean,
erotica.
I don't
They
think
never
that-
die.
Before that.
I don't think anything can kill erotica. That's
Well, we lost erotic thrillers. The 90s were all erotic thrillers, wall to wall, and then, movies like Jade and Body of Evidence came out and like pretty much tanked it as a genre. Sliver as well, like it just disappeared overnight. I can't remember the last time I saw a mainstream. The closest would be like there was that movie where Diane. Oh my goodness. She's cheating on her husband with a much younger man. Oliver, what's his name? I can't remember. And there was another one where Halle Berry was cheating with the boy next door. I think it was just called like Boy or something. It was super weird. And like those movies just disappeared. Like in the 2010s, they would come out and then no one would go to see them, and it was like direct to DVD.
yeah. I'm trying to think. I can't think of any erotic thrillers that have come out recently that I can't.
We'd have to turn to good old Google to actually look and see what's coming out.
I feel like maybe
That's the thing.
it put it on
Really
yeah,
helpful.
like it's put it in the hospital, but I don't think that anything erotic will ever truly die because sex sells.
Yeah, I think maybe it's just gone to
Um,
more intimate venues. Like you can enjoy it yourself privately. You don't have to go to a theater with a bunch of
Yeah.
weirdos and like hope that your fantasy's on the screen. You can actually find your fantasy now.
And
Yeah.
let's not underestimate the impact COVID had on what was produced. Like there's a clear shift. So
And also the shift away from mid-budget movies. Like
Yeah.
now everything costs $20 million or $300 million. There's like nothing in the middle.
yeah.
And you're not going to make a $300 million. Well, I mean, I would love to see them try a $300 million erotic thriller. That would be amazing. Like I can't even imagine the lengths and the twists that would go
I
into
have
that.
some source material.
That would be great.
Contact
But,
us, Hollywood. We're open.
Yes. Hire indie writers, man. Stop making Marvel movies. We got better stuff. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, I would watch a Model UN movie. I haven't even
that's-
read the comic yet, and I'll watch it.
It's kind of you say that.
I would watch of any of my friends whose books I've read. Like I would watch a movie made about their stuff over the next whatever Marvel movie's coming out.
I feel like Model UN would be a great limited series that lets you like pace it out over several episodes but has that conclusion. That would be
Yeah.
that'd be sweet.
Yeah.
It sounds like it would be good. Yeah.
I can only hope the alien ship doesn't kill the effects budget like in the first episode. That would be my one concern. It's such
We're
an
gonna
affordable
use
show to do.
practical effects,
Yeah,
miniatures.
It's we're going back to basics for this one. Yeah.
I think practical effects are just too underrated these days.
Oh, of course.
I would love to see more practical effects.
Think of an old school movie with CG effects that you would want to watch again. Like they don't exist. They're not out there. You try to watch like Independence Day and it looks like straight up garbage. And then you look at Jurassic Park, which came out years before that, and it still looks fantastic because they used full-size dinosaurs whenever a human had to be nearby. Animatronics were interacting with people. It looks a lot better than there was a movie that came out called Real Steel maybe 10 years ago about robot
Yeah.
boxing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
The
saw an
movie
interview.
that was way better than it had any right to be.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I saw an interview with the director, and he said they asked him like, okay, when you were making decisions about the effects, like, was there anything you used a lot of practical effects in this movie, and most people would have thought it would have just been CG. And he's like, when I was planning out the movie, I actually had the chance to talk with Steven Spielberg, and he told me that, you know, the reason his movies have endured in the past was because of combining real actors with real animatronics. And so when he did Real Steel, every time you see a robot move near a human, they built it and they animated it and they moved it. And when the robots are just fighting each other in the ring, that's when they would go to CG, because you didn't have that juxtaposition that would trick the eye.
Right.
And it really, as you mentioned, like the movie looks a lot better than you think it would for like what it's supposed to be. And it's too bad that more directors don't do that. Or maybe it's the real thing is, it's too bad that more studios don't offer these opportunities for these stories to be told that way. Instead, it's like, well, we'll just animate it, you know?
Yeah, it's a shame.
I mean, not that I know, I'm not privy to these conversations, just my armchair quarterbacking.
How many tangents is that, Brian? Have you been keeping track? That's at
Well,
least 3.
We're probably into double digits, though.
Before we go too much further, though, I do have to say regarding the movie that the stalker getting rewarded with the girl at the end was probably one of the most egregious pieces.
It's terrible. Where like somehow they write letters to each other.
Right. And then they say they're still together. Like, ooh.
And like they try to make it romantic by like, because he had that letter. And, you know, now they're continuing the letter thing. And it's like, oh, they have this letter thing. But no, like she doesn't know him at all. You know, like there was a whole genre in the 90s. It was like boy who does not exist to this girl. And then by the end of the movie, they're together.
You know, I thought they were going to go a certain way, because there's a point in the movie where the main character, Amanda, the main character's love interest, she says, I've only ever been Mike Decker's boyfriend. I don't even know who I am. And I was like, yeah. And then
no, fortunately,
it happened
she'll never
exactly
have
the
to
way
learn.
it should.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to have her own personality.
She was correct with all of her big speeches that, you know, here's this guy just approaching her. He doesn't say his name, just starts spouting off about love and let's go someplace quiet. And she rips into him, and she's correct that she's only ever been the girlfriend, and maybe she should take time to figure out who she is. And then they just trash all of that.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to feel bad for the guy.
If they had gone in that direction, imagine how interesting it would have been.
Yes.
You know, like the idea of like, he could have the realization that, oh shit, I've been objectifying someone. I don't know who this person is. Who am I even attracted to here? Like, I'm attracted to the creation in my head. I'm not attracted to the actual person who I've never interacted with. That's still interesting. And it would have worked within the context of this film. They could have done it.
It would have been amazing for him to realize that, oh, Pop-Tart Girl doesn't exist. And instead, I should move on with my life. Instead.
Also, if you're going to date somebody based on mutual interests, you should make it a little deeper than, oh, we both have the same favorite Pop-Tart flavor.
But no one's deep at that age, right? Like, it's like you attach the significance to things that are completely insignificant.
That is underestimating teenagers. Teenagers can absolutely have more depth to them.
Okay, I'll take it back. I was not that deep at that age, and my opinions were not to be trusted. Especially...
in my defense, I thought I was that deep when I was a teenager, but I was an idiot when I was a teenager, as we all were. Like, if you think that you were not a cringeworthy human being when you were 15, 16, 17 years old, you were wrong, and you lack self-reflection.
I've been revisiting a lot of those times for this book. Like I cracked open old yearbooks and whatnot for inspiration on how things should look, and then that draws you into like a memory palace that you don't want to visit.
Yep.
Yeah, and so I've had to be so gentle with my past self over the last 6 months of writing this book, and like give myself grace and be like, I'm not that person anymore, and it's okay that person existed, and like they were doing their best, ? You know, like. But yeah, it's a weird headspace to be in.
It is.
It's gonna be weird when kids grow up and like every moment of their life has been documented by selfie cameras and taking videos of each other, and they like, oh yeah, hey, remember this thing you did?
Growing up in public, like it's so wild.
Yeah, and never being able to escape it. It's the dumbest thing that you did. If you had smartphones at that point, it's forever. And that sucks.
You know, Amanda, getting back to what you were saying about like the self-realization, and I can't help but think that like the writers and directors of this film realized that they had missed an opportunity, and then with Josie and the Pussycats went full meta and just I don't know if anyone here has seen that movie, but like it's
Not in a long time.
it's
Yeah.
essentially a commentary on media and how media shapes tastes, lives, decisions that people make, and how it's essentially a concerted effort by people controlling pop culture to get kids to be consumers.
Okay, that
And
shard
it's-
loose. I have seen that movie.
And it's interesting that it's the same people who made this movie. And I wonder if there is a different version of Can't Hardly Wait that was on the page and was not able to be shot because the studio was like, this is basically your first movie and we don't trust you to like do anything other than what we know will sell tickets.
Maybe. Although when I was reading up on the movie a little bit, it sounded like they were trying to make it very much raunchier, but then they got capped at PG-13. So it sounds like they were just kind of going down that rabbit hole of horny teenagers. Ha ha ha.
I'm glad that they got capped though, because can you imagine if they hadn't?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been even
It
more
wouldn't-
rapey, and that would have not been good.
Yeah, it would have
Right,
been a
would've
worse
Revenge
movie
of the
for it.
Nerds.
Yeah.
Some of the
Yeah.
things that I watched them that I read about them doing, it was. Why the hell is this being the way it's being? There. Oh, yeah. So I agree. And do we have any other final thoughts on this movie? I think you should watch it. If you like, I don't mean don't go out of your way to watch it, but like you should watch it if it's a thing that if you got a couple hours on a Saturday or whatever, and it happens to be available, you
And
can
it's
watch it.
raining and there's no books in your house and There's
And you haven't bought
I mean,
Model UN.
Yeah, I think I think yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think you could do worse than watching this movie.
you only get one channel on TV and you're
And
like in
then
one of those you're in one of those hotels that's not really a hotel, it's like a motel and it's been out of business for 10 years but it doesn't know it yet and it just has
Rod
that one
Sterling
channel.
has introduced
CRT
what's happening in this
TVs.
episode
Yeah.
of The Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
I think that you could make worse choices than to watch this movie if you have the time. I didn't hate it. I've been on this weird, like we've done several movies in a row now where I'm just like, I didn't like it, but I'm not sad that I watched it. And it kind of peaked last week with Birdemic because I'm like, that was not a movie, but yet I'm not sorry that I watched it. Anyway. Yeah, so everybody who is watching, everybody except me, who is a part of the panel here, y'all can play, and you go to play.blicket.com and enter that 6-digit code there, or you can just scan that QR code and get into the game. And Benjamin, you're giving some digital stuff away?
Yeah, because unfortunately I can't mail anything across the border. It just sucks. Like I have all these stickers and cool things I wanted to send you, and then I realized I had to. Also, there's a postal strike up here, so like,
Oh,
Oh right, I forgot about that. Jesus,
supposed
yeah,
to
y'all
end
can't
tomorrow.
win.
yeah, it's ending tomorrow, but it's going to like a rotating strike, and I don't know what that means. So I don't know. My mailbox has been empty for a few weeks. So, but I do have. So my first book, Code 45, was a book about a metro driver. A metro driver who falls into rave culture and discovers that there's these dragons that live in the subway tunnels underneath Montreal. And my friends, I was a rave promoter for about 10 years in the late 90s, early 2000s. And so I reached out to some DJ friends and put together a bunch of mixes from that era that were specific to the time. And I would love to give those to whoever wants to win them because they're a lot of fun. I'm meant to join this as well, and I'm trying to figure out how to do that. So
Yes.
I will do it.
We'll
now.
give you time. I have the power.
Okay.
yeah. Figure that out.
Yeah, I'm the only one who does. Like, well, whoever wrote the quiz, like we're kind of been taking turns. Amanda wrote her first quiz last week. It was very exciting.
Nice.
She got us with a couple tricksers. She got us. She got me anyway. There was at least one that we all got wrong.
Yep.
But anyway, the only person who's not allowed to take the quiz is the one who wrote it. So I wrote the quiz this week.
Is the quiz specific to what we've been discussing?
Yes, it's specific to Can't Hardly Wait. We
Okay.
didn't necessarily talk about everything, but if you watch the movie, you should be able to get most of them right.
I've watched it many
Okay,
times, but it's been a while.
That's fair. And everybody who's watching, you didn't have to participate in the. I mean, it's nice when you chat with us because we're big fans of the attention. So, but you didn't have to be a commenter. You can jump in and join the quiz
Mhm.
and
Please
win and potentially win a comic. I have a feeling that that Brian might be winning the comics again. Brian, well, I mean, it's not going to be me, and it would be. I didn't do a sticker this week because I didn't have time. Actually, this is all like I have very poor time management skills, and now that I find myself with so much less time so abruptly, I don't like this is the first thing that's suffering. I noticed like I have half-assed it for like the past month. So, but yeah, we've got the comics and I'll give you a regular sticker, and I've got Produce Cats supposedly coming at some point, so you can have a Produce Cat. Like, I think they're coming. And they're coming from California somewhere, so I know that takes like a week to get here, but
What is Produce Cat?
Produce Cats is a merch campaign I did back in July and August, I think. And it's just little fruits and vegetables, but they're cats.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Cats are the best. My little
I
guy, I have a little
cats.
guy, Mr. Ming. He's 13 years old. We've been best
Aw.
friends for like his entire life. He's awesome.
Yeah. Aw.
Mr. Ming sounds awesome.
Yeah. If anybody is watching is ever unclear, like cats are more than welcome on the show. Like half the time I start with, that fireman carrier that you were describing. Like that's how I start the show. He was clawing me too much. He was biscuiting on my show, and it hurt. And this is a new shirt, and I want it to stay blood free for a little while.
You got to get like a bib or something you can throw over for those moments.
Yeah, like a
Cat bib.
Kitty
yeah,
shawl.
Yeah, just
I
like
think-
something heavy.
Cat bib is an untapped market. I
Cat
think
cape.
you just uttered two words that are going to make you millions.
Oh,
Kitty cat capelet.
hey, there's like there's funner words than that. A Dicky, the cat Dicky. No,
Cat Dicky.
yeah,
That's more of a
We'll work on the
freckle
name.
on the sides.
yeah, a burpee cloth, but it's to like get your cat to not claw the shit out of you.
I found
Kitty
out.
cat?
That's what's awfully long.
I found out that in Britain, in the I guess until the 1950s, they called the trunk of a car a dicky. I had no idea.
Did not know that. Yeah. I mean, they still call it the boot, which is
The boot,
weird. There's a lot of things. I mean, after watching Ted Lasso, I learned that there's a lot of things that they call boots there.
Yeah, growing up in Canada, you're subjected, well, at least in the 80s and 90s, you're subjected to like tons of British culture because Canadian broadcasting would just borrow stuff from the BBC all the time.
Yep.
So like
That sounds about right.
that's how I saw Doctor Who, like it was on after school every day, but it was all the
There you
stuff
go.
from like the 60s and 70s. So I was getting all these really dated British references, which were forming my own pop culture.
Awesome. Okay, I guess we should probably start this quiz, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's counting down, so follow your screens. Don't listen to us.
All right.
Somebody got it wrong.
Oh wait, I didn't know there were more than two choices. I didn't have my window maxed.
Oh, sorry.
That's
yeah,
that's not your
there's
fault.
4 on everything.
Yeah, I just saw the top 2 and I'm like, wait a minute.
A third of a second behind Amanda.
Sometimes
Speed
it
counts.
just comes down to how fast you click the answer.
Mm-hmm.
We should have talked about that because I don't think being drunk does what it made William do in that movie.
In
Correct.
your own mind.
Right, can somebody tell me if I spelled tassel right there? Because that fucking word, man. It never looked right.
I'm killing it with this quiz, by the way.
You can just say that, I don't want to win my own.
Yeah, I was like, it would be weird if you won your own prize, though, wouldn't it?
Did anyone? Oh, we all got it wrong.
I could not remember. I saw
Yeah,
what you were
that's
doing
fair.
there, though.
That's fair.
I knew how much it cost to buy it to sell. Speaking of umlauts, what did the German exchange student add to the movie?
Right?
Gross out humor, or not gross out humor, but yeah, just
Mocking foreigners.
yeah, that too.
I'm 27 points behind the leader for anyone who's keeping track.
Yeah, you're not clicking fast enough. Like they're just clicking faster. That's sometimes these
That's all it
Well,
comes down
the
to.
questions comes down to how fast you click.
The internet's slower
Okay.
in Canada. Like it has to travel farther through colder wires.
Oh well, I guess we'll have to give you that one then.
It's okay. I don't need your pity.
Everybody got that wrong, but Brian got it wrong the fastest.
Yes.
Well done.
Ah, you all got the
Steven Universe,
epilogue.
Dad.
12.
Yes. And Amanda made it through the entire quiz.
I
We
got
have a lot of
50%.
problems.
I think that makes sense for like a movie that I saw in my formative years, but not many times since. Although I did rewatch the first half hour in preparation.
We watched it.
Fair enough.
We watched it last night, so
Yeah,
fresh.
yeah, that makes a difference if you haven't watched the movie recently when you take the quiz for sure.
Hmm.
But I think that I've only ever not watched the movie immediately or watched the movie like the night before, like once.
I tried to get through it, but I couldn't power through it. I was like, because I knew what everyone was going to say, but only in the moment where I was watching it. And that's the hardest kind of movie to rewatch,
Yep,
I think.
Yeah.
that's fair.
And also, like, I'm starting to be increasingly weirded out by 27-year-olds playing teenagers, which is
Right.
something. Yeah, it's just too hard to see these days. And
Yeah.
that was peak for that. That was like exactly when that was
That
happening
was
all the
sad.
time.
Interestingly,
Yeah.
the main female character, what's the actress's
Amanda?
name? Yeah.
Oh,
the actress.
shit, what is
Jennifer
her
Love
name?
Hewitt.
Jennifer Love
Yeah,
Hewitt.
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
She
Yep.
was 18 during the movie.
Yeah.
So that's why she looks so waif thin and young.
And I think Seth Green was pretty age appropriate at that time too.
Mhm.
But like, it's the rest of
Yeah.
them were 5 o'clock shadows and
Yeah,
dad bods and stuff. It's like it's uncomfortable.
it was a bit. So, okay. You want one last final sell for Model UN comic?
All right, it's aliens, and aliens come to Earth. They mistake Model UN for the real UN, and then a bunch of misfit kids have to keep the Earth from being, I guess, vaporized or whatever's going to happen. No spoilers, but modeluncomic.com. It's 54 pages. It's black and white manga, and it's the first half of it, and it contains none of the misogyny or terrible social lessons that were taught by Can't Hardly Wait, which only superficially resembles the Model UN comic.
That's a good plug. Okay. Next week we are going to watch. I'm pretty excited about this one because we're going to watch The Color Out of Space, and I've been meaning to watch it. The one with Nick Cage. I've been meaning to watch it for ages, but I just haven't. And so now I have like a reason that I have to watch it. Our guest is going to be Dan Hank, coming and talking about his project, and then we're going to talk about Color Out of Space. And who's gonna write the quiz this time around? Because Lovecraft, I don't think any of us are like particularly Lovecraftian, are we?
Speaking of difficult social situations,
Right.
and mores.
I've watched and read some. I'll do the quiz.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Yeah. I
Event-
feel like we should just ask this every time now because there's been a few that, well, I know Brian, you've jumped at the opportunity to do a couple of them, and I usually just do them by default. Like there was a moment 2 weeks ago, I think it wasn't last week, but 2 weeks ago, I was like, oh my god, I didn't write the quiz, and then I was like, no, dummy, Brian wrote the quiz. It's fine. So, but yeah, we can rotate, or we can just be like, whoever has the time can write it. We'll figure it out. But yeah, Amanda will write the quiz for next week. That'll be interesting.
Lovecraft.
And yes, we're gonna skip right past Lovecraft as a person and just focus on the material.
Maybe don't do that either.
To be fair, I haven't watched the movie yet. Maybe they. I don't know how the hell they could possibly write the racism out of it, but
You're okay with color out of space. You won't. It's not on the screen.
oh.
Fortunately.
There's okay, so the original story of the original Color Out of Space is, I don't think that there's a lot of racism, but there's a lot of classism in that one, if I remember right. Maybe I'm mixing that one up with a different one, but the point is, usually there's some othering happening. If you're gonna read a Lovecraft novel, or a Lovecraft story, I should say, you're gonna have to deal with some othering.
For sure.
And that's the nicest way I can say it. So, with that being said, go back Model UN. Thank you, Ben, for coming and talking about all of this stuff.
This was fun. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it was a great time.
Pleasure.
We had like 3 really good ones and like really fun ones in a row, I think. And I am stalling because I can't find my video. There it is. All right, everybody have a wonderful rest of your evening, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.